Well, the Denver Nuggets were in action just 2 days following their big win over Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Thunder in Oklahoma City. A total mirage game that again keeps people thinking the Denver Nuggets are better than they actually are, that they are an actual contender, the primary threat even to the Thunder in the West. But the only threat the Nuggets are is in losing themselves in the first round of the playoffs. Look no further than the game they just played in last night against the Minnesota Timberwolves, who would be their presumptive first round opponent if the playoffs started today. Yeah, in the game last night, the Nuggets got blown off of the court by 20, and even more troubling, scoring only 95 points in the process. Jokic, for his part, scored 34 points on 13 of 23 from the field, while his alleged all-star caliber running mate Jamal Murray, who has actually never been an all-star ever, scored 12 points on 4 of 15 shooting, and that was while Michael Porter Jr. added 10 points on 3 of 10 from the field. Oh yeah, and Aaron Gordon was a DNP again, as he has logged just 38 games so far on the year of the Nuggets' 66 to this point. And those are the Nuggets' 3 best players outside of Jokic. Yeah, this game was basically a microcosm for the entire season. Check that for this entire team during the Nikola Jokic era. They have overachieved mightily this year on the back of what should be the easy MVP Nikola Jokic, as this team without him is nothing shy of hot, dreadful urghs. But seriously, don't take my word for it, just let the stats, metrics, and stone-cold science of basketball wash over you. And I speak often on this channel about advanced analytics. But truth be told, as someone who came of age during the low-efficiency dead ball era of NBA basketball, watching isolationist hero ball legends, I must admit I was initially very turned off to the whole idea of stat nerds pleasuring themselves to a bunch of made-up acronyms like player efficiency rating, box plus minus, value over replacement, and win shares. However, these are the metrics to which all basketball analysts and writers use to denote value to individual players and to determine what kind of value they deliver to their teams. And looking at the 4 metrics, there is a case to be made that the Nuggets have one of the very worst teams in the entire NBA. Like, no shit, arguably one of the 2 worst teams in the league. But again, don't take my word for it, just look at the numbers. Nikola Jokic, in those aforementioned 4 advanced analytic metrics, ranks very high league-wide, as he is first in all of them but win shares, in which he trails SGA by only 1/10 of a point for first place in that field. So really, by these metrics, Jokic is by far the best player in the NBA today. But what about that supporting cast? Well, let's check out the next best player on the Nuggets behind Jokic, and well, shall we say he is not elite, as Jamal Murray checks in with an aggregate NBA rank of 57th league-wide. So Nikola Jokic's second best player is not even a top 50 player league-wide, a guy set to be making 50+ million per year over the next 4 years. But surely Michael Porter Jr., he must be faring better than Jamal Murray this season. Well, not so fast, because he is checking in with an aggregate league-wide ranking of 74th best. And frankly, I don't know what is crazier here. The fact the Nuggets players, like all of them, are this bad, or that basically no one anywhere is talking about it. No one. The Nuggets are perpetually referred to as some kind of a contender instead of a one-man carry job. And I mean a historical carry job at that, which should result in a damn near unanimous league MVP for Jokic, but instead will be a landslide victory for Shai. More on that later. But in all seriousness, Jokic's second option isn't top 50, and his third option isn't top 70. How about his next best player, which should presumably be Aaron Gordon, but he has missed, again, nearly half of their games to this point in this season, and likely has very little hopes of being remotely healthy for the playoffs. But while he is on the floor, just keeps getting worse and worse for Denver, as he has an aggregate league-wide ranking of 129th. So that brings us to old reliable Russell Westbrook, a signing which was treated as a punchline in the offseason, but he actually has been quite good for the Nuggets. I mean, not good enough really to move the needle, checking in as the 103rd best player in the NBA by aggregate. And keep in mind now that those are the best players on the Nuggets outside of Jokic. Just imagine how bad the remainder of the players are. These are really supposed to be the players that arguably a top 10 all-time player in the very heart of his prime has to contend for championships with: Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., and Aaron Gordon. Three players owed an absolutely laughable $441 million cumulatively, while they rank around the 57th, 74th, and 130th best players in the league. And that is probably why the Nuggets lost last year in the second round. It is why they are in very serious jeopardy of losing in the first round this season. It can all be borne out in the team net rating differentials. Net rating measures a team's point differential per 100 possessions, essentially indicating how much better or worse a team performs on offense compared to its defense. And this measurement can be applied to teams with and without certain players on the floor. The Thunder, who have been historically great this season, have the best net rating in the NBA of 12.5. That, though, isn't just tops this season, it is the second best ever, trailing only the 72-win 1995-96 Chicago Bulls. It therefore should come as little surprise that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has the best individual net rating of plus 16.15. But the Nuggets' net rating without Shai on the floor per 100 possessions is still plus 2.93, which ranks very highly league-wide this season. It would in fact rank them 9th best in the NBA. The 9th best team in the league without Shai on the floor, above teams like the Lakers, who are the current 2 seed in the West. Following the Nuggets' loss to Minnesota, it is also above the Milwaukee Bucks, who is the 4 seed out east at the moment. Jokic, meanwhile, is sitting at a net rating of plus 11.37. However, the Nuggets without Jokic on the floor dropped to a net rating of minus 7.99. And to put that number in context, it would be the second worst figure in the entire league this year, above only the Wizards and just below the Pelicans, who are currently 18-48. So the net rating swing for Jokic is actually higher than it is for Shai, much higher. So just how bad are the Denver Nuggets? Putrid? Likely isn't going far enough. They would not only be a lottery team without Jokic, they would be contending for the most ping pong balls in the lottery. With Jokic, though, they are battling it out for the 2 seed in the conference. And that sounds like the very definition of an MVP.